Exploration of the Ark of the Covenant as mentioned in Quran verse 248 in chapter 2, we come across similar concepts in different holy scriptures, prompting us to consider their significance and why these are mentioned.
So this verse 248, let's just go through it first. So 247, 248, 246 to 248. Let's just read these verses so that we have a perspective of what are these talking about, and then we're going to go into more detail. So, have you considered the chiefs of the children of Israel after Musa when they said to the prophet of theirs? Okay, so just to ground ourselves, what we have reviewed before is, according to the Old Testament, the Ark of the Covenant was taken from the people of Israel. The people of Israel were in constant conflict with the locals of that area, Philistines, and what this verse is saying is basically after that conflict started, these people, the chiefs of the children of Israel after Musa, so Moses has already passed, they're living in that area, they are in conflict, so they're asking their prophet at that time, what? Raise up for us a king, we may fight in the way of Allah. He said, may it. So again, one thing I want to highlight over here, in the way of Allah. Now many people question this concept and say Allah, especially Christians, those who argue that, who want to demean the other religion, that's how they come across, and they say, well, the God of Muslims is different than God of the Christians. Well, in this particular example, God of Muslims, Allah, is using the word, mentioning the event, but using the word they want to fight in the way of Allah. So it means that when they went to their prophet, they were not talking about any other God, they were talking about the same God, the God of Abraham, the God of Moses, the God of Jacob, the God of Jesus, of those prophets who were following the same God. And it is mentioned that he was Allah at that point. They referred to Allah. So he said, the prophet said, may it not be that you would not fight if fighting is ordained for you. They said, and what reason do we have that we would not fight in the way of Allah? And we have indeed been compelled to abandon our homes and our children. So just to add more details over here, and we're going to look at more details, that at that point, it seems like it's clear from this particular set of verses that they were in fighting and they were displaced from their houses. But when fighting was ordained for them, they turned back except for a few. 246, long verse, it talked about what they did when fighting was ordained. Now I want to highlight one thing again over here. Just keep this in mind, that over here, and this might be a little longer discussion, that's fine, because I want to have this longer discussion. They were removed from their houses, they were removed from their children. Now we know that the ark protected them. The key aspect of the ark was that it protected the people of Israel. So when the ark protected them, but they were still displaced, so it means that the ark either wasn't protecting them at that point, or they were not respecting the ark as it should be respected, that it had lost its power, and the power has to do with the degree of respect that a person gives to the ark. So it's an interesting concept that we will think about more as we go through. So then in the next in the next section, verse 247, it's mentioned, and their prophet said to them, surely Allah has raised Talut, so Talut is Saul, to be a king over you. They said, how can he hold kingship over us while we have a greater right to kingship than he? And he has not been granted an abundance of wealth. So they're Like, think about their mindset over here, that they are raising this question that how can he be the king that he has not been granted abundance in wealth? That was their definition of success at that time. And that is the definition of success in this world right now. So it is an interesting discussion that was happening between them and their prophet. He said, surely Allah has chosen him in preference to you. He has increased him in abundance, knowledge, and physique. So, two criteria for success and successorship and kingship mentioned in the Quran: knowledge and physique. These are the two criteria that are mentioned for success or kingship. And Allah grants His kingdom to whom He so desires, and Allah is ample giving and knowing. So, this is an important point that we should realize, that whenever God chooses someone to be the king, the representative of God, it is based on two criteria: not wealth, but rather knowledge, the intellect, and number two, the physique. When I say physique, it basically means the ability to stand, to be steadfast, to not be just be a whimsical, like weak person, have a body in which a person can stand up against the injustice, and the ability to have confidence. It doesn't mean that a person like who has some physical disability cannot be a leader. It just means that they have the capability to stand up when the time comes. So the next verse is important, and then this next verse talks about the situation that unfolded. And their prophet said to them, the sign of his kingship is that there shall come to you the chest. This again is the ark, in which there is tranquility, peace from your Lord, and remnants of what the children of Musa and the children of Harun. So again, Moses and Aaron have left. The angels will be carrying it. Most surely there is a sign in this for those who believe. Now, this is very similar to the design that we talked about from the Old Testament, where that particular ark carried the staff of Aaron, according to Old Testament, that also carried the remnants of the prior prophets, as well as the tablets of the Ten Commandments. Any questions so far?